Just kidding.
Everyone pile in. But now we are live. We're ready to go.
Happy 2018, L5R community.
Woo!
We made it.
2018. Welcome, Bad Publicity. Same game, new year. I hope everyone is comfy. Settle yourself in here. We've got some cards to talk about. Get yourself a nice bottle of carbonated water, home-brewed soda stream, and let's dive in.
Yeah.
There's no
let's
sense.
Dive on in.
I don't even want to talk about the small chit chat. I know how you guys have been.
It's true. We've been talking for like 45 minutes while we're waiting to get this set up. So we're done. We're done. But yeah, so as we continue our quest to complete our tier list breakdown of the Imperial cycle,
in the description below,
which you can find in the description below, we will continue our journey as we've been breaking down and dissecting these cards, and our journey leads us to the Chrysanthemum Throne.
It's all kinds of chrysanthemum.
Ooh.
All kinds.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess first we'll start. We discussed we didn't really feel like there's any major changes we wanted to make to the tier list prior. That is likely to change after we go through this pack. But so yeah, I guess we're just gonna dive right in.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready?
Yep, please do.
All right, cool. So as usual, we typically go in clan order. So we are starting with Crab Clan. So the first card we have on our list is the Caillou Inventor. This is a crab character, Bushi Engineer. It is cost 2, military 2, political 1, and glory 0. She has an action. Choose a holding you control. You may trigger each of that holding's triggered abilities an additional time this round, or a specified period. So like quick glance, of course, she's a way to get extra benefit out of your holdings. I think the immediate synergy is like Funeral Pyre. You sack your guy to Pyre, she's out. Pyre again, draw another card.
Yeah.
But I think she kind of falls into the issue with a lot of the holding synergy characters with the timing. So you have to play with a decent number of holdings in order to have her out. You have to play with holdings that play with her ability. You need to have her in play. She has a cost 2. So she needs to... It's one of those, like, I think if they get the ability to have better holdings for Crab, or Crab gets a better way to like sift and locate holdings, she of course becomes much stronger. Her ability becomes much more effective. I feel like she may struggle to get deck spots right now.
I fully agree with everything you said. As of right now, I don't feel that Crab is just flooding their deck with holdings that make this card a good include.
Right.
I think the possibilities with it are there. I think the future potential is through the roof with it. So I don't think it's a card that you are going to sleep on. But that honestly, it just all depends on how the development team does with holdings in Crab. I mean, obviously, if the holdings in Crab aren't that good, I mean, we expect there to be, right?
Right.
But
they're allegedly the holding clan, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to be their other little gimmick.
Allegedly. Yeah. So I mean, I think this is gonna be hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
But all it's going to take is one or two good synergy holding cards, and all of a sudden you're going to see this.
Yeah. If you can get a good build, I mean, I agree. I think it's one of those characters that, like, right now, it's kind of like, but the ability is potentially amazing, barring a really effective holding R2, R3
But
that you could benefit off of.
but the only thing I wonder about there is that if the holding is going to be really powerful, then it might be a sacrifice to trigger it.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
that's the case, this is not going to work. You need one that kind of stays in play, right? So
Yeah, most likely. It's interesting, right? Because Crab, like, they have a couple of characters that like want holdings in play to trigger their abilities, but there's still probably that fine line between like too much and too little, and then there's also that order flow because you need the characters to come out before the holdings or really close to the holdings. But if you get the holdings too early, you're not getting the characters.
yeah, it's weird. It's going to be.
Yeah.
Right now, for me, I don't think it's bad. There are cards that this is going to work with. I don't think a lot of them are very popular in the builds. Below average.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been fairly silent because I wanted to take in, of course, your opinions on this card, and I also like listening to Corey lead when it comes to some of these cards. He reads them all so well.
I try.
But like, I just, to summarize, I agree with very much with what you guys have said. We've said it's time and time again regarding some of these cards. If you're going to benefit holdings, then it needs to be so good to where it prioritizes holdings instead of characters. And where we are in the game right now, that doesn't really seem to be the case most of the time. I mean, the characters make or break the winning strategy most of that time, right? So the holding needs to advance the game state to allow you to win pretty handedly, I think, compared to just having a better character. And it's difficult because right now the available holdings aren't strong enough to where I think it pushes that as much. That's the truth.
Correct, especially for Crab. There are some you might be able to argue in some other clans, but in Crab specifically, they don't have that.
Yep.
That combination. So I'm kind of in the average below average camp as well. So I think Hollis, you'll probably pick where it goes.
I feel like below average is appropriate. This definitely feels like another one of those cards where, of course, we know all cards change based on what comes out. But this, if the mechanics are available, that holdings become a dominant strategy, then yeah, a card like this could be amazing. It'll be key to that strategy. Right now, we don't have enough tools, so this card, it can't be great, right?
Right.
Take me to the next one.
All right. So as we keep on moving, we come to a pit trap. This is a Crab attachment item trap. Cost 3, military 1, -1, political -1, attached to a character. Play only on a character that is attacking. Attached character does not ready during the regroup phase. Now, this card did get some errata for clarification's sake to make sure that like the positioning of the character didn't like kick the attachment off of it or make like an illegal game state. But pretty much the intention and purpose of the card is they come in, you play it, you debuff a character, and then when that combat's over and that character bows or you fight, they go back, they don't unbow to then come back. So if you have a character theoretically, I guess it's attacking you with a lot of fate invested on them, you can drop the pit trap on them. You have to, withstand the impact of the initial attack. But then in theory, they don't bother you again, barring some unbow effects played from other cards and things like that. Because they're stuck in the pit trap. They caught the trap. Activated your trap card. You got them. So
living card game again. Let's throw that out there.
Living.
I don't think that this card is necessarily bad. But I don't think it's good right now. I'm still seeing a lot of Dragon Splash, and I mean until that diversifies a bit more, it's just to because of the cost. Okay, it really hurts if this attachment gets removed after you've already paid 3 for it. And
that's a hefty investment,
and that hurts it for me, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to think it is potentially a high impact card, So I feel like the cost is appropriate, because if this was 2, I mean, I feel like you would definitely see it, because then like the risk is worth gambling of taking a character out of the game, especially like in Crab, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think 3 has that little bit of a risk of like, I can invest to play it. It doesn't have like an immediate effect aside from the -1/-1. So it's a really weird card. This is weird. I mean, I totally get the theme and the idea behind it, but I am on the same page with you about the risk involved with it. Because like, you drop it, you pay it, and then if they like let go it, and the thing is too, like, they're still attacking with that character. Like, they're still gonna do stuff with that character, barring any other things you play to send it home or bow it and get it out of the conflict or something like that.
Hollis.
Well, the -1 very much feels like icing. It feels like they designed the meat and potatoes of the card, right, to be simply effectively, quote, you don't untap during the, you know what I mean? Like, that's effectively what it is. It's designed to say this character does not get to regroup. They never stand again. And the -1, I think they probably just use that alone. They said at 3 costs, this is too hefty, but at 2 costs, this maybe is too good. So let's balance it. Let's put the cost at 3, and the -1 is just icing. So the character becomes less effective now when it's attacking a little bit. Plus, it doesn't get to regroup.
Yeah.
I think 3 is a lot. I do think 3 is a lot, but like you said, being able to disable the character until you have the let go in hand is pretty significant. And I mean, you basically get to just remove the value. If they don't have that let go available to them, you are basically just straight up removing the value from a character they may have invested heavily in. And that, I think, can be worth it. So I actually think this is pretty good, even given the cost. But cards like Let Go, of course, will always hurt.
But even
cards like this.
The amount of ready abilities out there, right?
Yeah.
Like Let Go is not, attachment removal is not the only thing we need to consider with something like this. Like,
Gaijin Customs is a way to ready. Stand Against the Waves, if you... Is that the right card I'm thinking of? Against the Waves or whatever.
Is there a Prodigy or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of like unbow effects.
Yeah.
That can also get around the card.
I mean, even the ring itself of water will
correct.
Will pop this back. So
I will raise you up. I'll fill the pit up.
Yeah.
Lift you out of it.
Right. So I don't know. This card is a little steep, and I think there's so many ways to walk around it that it's just not. It's not all that for me, man.
Right.
I mean, you guys.
So here's the thing.
You can talk me around to average, but I don't think this ain't going. This is not tipping.
I don't think it's getting there. But I mean, this isn't Crab, and Crab, aside from like Way of the Crab, right, doesn't really have like targeted removal. So maybe it's like for this clan, it's a way for them to do it, to mess you up. It also plays into their like, I'm on the defense. You're coming in, and I'm going to cripple your attackers and make it really hard. Like theme wise, I get it, whatever, but
it's below average to me, and I don't see it moving.
Yeah, I'm in the below average camp.
Hollis,
I'm going to put it average.
Well,
but I'm being optimistic. I'm being optimistic on this card only because I actually do think that it's possible. Well, I agree that there are other card effects that can allow characters to stand again, but I feel like I don't think everybody's like making like a concerted effort to always use that ability. Like it's pretty much like that only becomes the ring to go to a lot of the time when a card like this exists. And you also do get counterplay. I mean, yes, there are characters that can stand characters, but when we're talking ring effects as an example, you get counterplay in the regard that you can try to claim that ring first.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, cool.
Average.
All right.
Well, you're outvoted.
No.
You're outvoted anyway.
It's definitely going to below average. But hey, I appreciate your enthusiasm. All right. All right. So next up, we go into the realm of the Crane clan, and we have Curry Favor. It's not like a favorite curry or Curry Favor, which is like a new flavor of curry. It is to curry favor. All right. This is a Crane event, cost 0.
My
reaction.
God. That better not be the bar you're setting for humor for 2018, man.
Look, man. Start off slow. We're starting off slow.
We expect from you, but go ahead.
After a character you control bows as a...
I can't.
So sorry. After a character you control bows as a result of conflict resolution from the second conflict you declared this round, ready that character. Influence 1. So this is in Crane. So kind of, I see the player, the idea on this card is you can commit a high glory character to do something on the very end of a turn. So if you're the first player, you can of course like react, attack, curry favor to ready them and then use them as a defender coming back. The other option is if you're going second, you could commit the character to go scout a province, test something, whatever, curry favor to then have that character available to contribute glory for winning the Imperial favor. Feels like some pretty neat utility on this card, but it's in Crane. It could have a deck slot issue, but unbow effects are good, even though it's not like mid-conflict for the unbow effect and stuff like that. So it's an interesting card. I kind of like it. I kind of like its utility and ability. But does it make it in? Like, how often does this get it? Because you kind of have to combo it off or have certain timing for it to be effective.
Hollis?
I think the timing of this card makes it very awkward to use. It's appropriately costed at 0, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, if you're not the first player, then I mean,
sure, yeah,
it's good.
I mean, but still, even if you are first player,
but if you're not first player, then you can ready your dudes and it counts towards glory, and maybe you can steal a favor. And
yeah, the one thing that is important to note though is it has to be the second conflict you've done this round, which means you need to declare 2 conflicts in order to be able to fire the card.
Yeah,
I think it's weird because what I'm struggling with is the fact that the only thing this is really costing you is in setup where it's taking a deck slot, because you're doing an action for nothing. So something for nothing is already a bonus, but is that bonus worth the slot in your deck? I know that can probably be said about every card, but I think it's most interesting about these cards that cost 0.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a tough one, because I feel like if you play a deck that's like absolutely dependent on you controlling the Imperial favor and trying to leave as many people unbound as possible to jack up your glory total to try to lock it that way, especially if you may not be doing it by winning rings all the time, this is an interesting card that plays into that. I don't see like, I mean, that's probably what I'm seeing it at.
Hollis, did you have more to add?
Not really. I mean, I just don't think it's that great.
But I mean, even think about like, I mean, tell me if this sounds like wrong, like Doji Challenger, right? If you're the first player and you go first in your second challenge, you Doji Challenger, pull somebody in to engage them and bow them, and then you curry favor to unbow your Doji Challenger so you can then use them as a defender or have them contribute glory, stuff like that. There's interesting like little plays like that I think makes the card interesting. I don't think it makes the card like, oh my god, amazing, but I feel like there are some good interactions that this card can potentially play around with.
Yeah, I'm really seeing that all the rest of this fluff on here after basically after basically readying a character, you're going to need some kind of balance because you're doing it for 0.
Right.
Right. So there has to be some kind of condition attached to that. So that's good.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this is above average right now for me. I mean, I'm really struggling because I think in certain situations it's going to be phenomenal for you. Like if the stars line up a couple games, you could really be tricked into thinking that this is the powerhouse of your deck. But I think more times than not, I think the condition might be hard to meet. So that's what kind of drops it down a bit for me.
I also think that if this was in any other clan, it wouldn't be nearly as good. But I feel like if you're playing this in Crane has enough ways to get cards, draw cards, to where they could get enough things to where being able to have some 0-cost things to throw, they can still have impactful cards in their hand after trying to get these combo pieces together. Is that making sense? Is that connecting the dots there? I think they're the clan that can pull it off. I guess it just makes sense why it's in this clan.
I think it'd be easier for me if you kind of throw a dart at the board and tell me where you think this is landing. So I don't know if you're talking it up, talking it down.
Oh yeah, or just wallowing in confusion.
Yeah. Or are you stalling because waiting for Hollis to say something?
No, I mean, I want this card to be above average. I think until I. So I'll tell you right now, like in my meta, in my area, Crane is next to non-existent. Okay, most of the Crane players have jump ship to something else, and they're not getting played a whole lot. And I see this card very difficult as a splash option compared to other things you could splash in Crane. So because I don't see that clan as often unless I go to like a major event and stuff like that, I think I'm gonna put this card at average.
Ooh, you might get your hand slapped, man.
I know. I see the potential. I think this card is better than that, but I haven't had enough experience yet around it or been able to play it to justify immediately giving it like a great reaction. Unbow effects are strong. Cannot dispute that. I think this is an easy one that I could easily vote up later, but I think I'm going to play it safe right now and drop it at average.
Average, huh? I think it's above average, so Hollis can be a tiebreaker here.
I actually think this is average.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like I thought this card was average, like almost immediately, and that was just and this wasn't even necessarily based on Crane being not represented heavily in the meta. It was just based on the fact that the conditions it's a second conflict, so it's the limitation is pretty. It has a very specific limitation on. It does cost 0. That is very good, but it's also like okay, but it's only
a reaction event.
Reaction event unbows cost 0, but it has to be the second conflict I make.
1 influence cost.
He's just piling it up.
Right.
He's like,
this will be the one that could haunt you. But all right,
I know he's gonna come back later. We're gonna go a couple episodes. He's gonna be like, "Oh, remember when you guys dropped this card at average?"
Yeah,
it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen.
Hey, I would love to be wrong.
True.
All right. So next up, we have Doji Shizu. This is a Crane character, courtier, storyteller. She is cost 2, military 1, political 2, glory 1. During the fate phase, if you have the Imperial favor, this character cannot lose fate or be discarded. Good. Cool. You get a character you bring out that as long as you can hold the favor, which in most matchups seems like something Crane can be pretty strong at doing, she doesn't go away. So you have like a glory, a courtier that you can use for trigger effects and things like that. Like persistent characters are never bad.
Right.
So seems I use the term good. Like I think I would drop her in like above average, between like above average to possibly good. But I think above average is fine. She's not like a super stat amazing character, and she is unique. So
Okay, so you stole the thunder from me. I don't really think I don't think there's much to say on about this card because Crane likes to have a courtier in play.
yeah,
This courtier stays in play or has the ability to stay in play. I think it's well costed for the effect it is. The only thing that's negative about it is that I really feel that you wanted to try and get some horizontal board action and get and it would have been nice to have multiple of these on the board to play for that. And I feel I don't think it. At the state that the game is in right now, I don't feel it's broken unless there's a design space later on why that needed to be because of that condition. So it would have forced to really try and hold that favor and keep it. But then maybe that would have been too much of a steamroll effect that if you have the favor and you have a shitload of these on the board and maybe there's just no recovering from that. But because of everything there, and Crane loves the courtiers, and I like the storyteller, this is just above average.
Hollis.
I'm
not sure where you're at on my screen.
I think we never want to invest. We never want to invest in the tiny characters, right? Because it's a gamble. Because Assassinate is a card that exists. Mm-hmm. This card is, I think, fairly appropriately costed for what it provides. It provides you with a 1/2 that cannot lose fate or be discarded if you have Imperial Favor. Now, getting Imperial Favor, sure, that's the crux, but getting this in play, having Imperial Favor only helps you, retain it.
It shouldn't be too hard though to grab Favor.
I mean, I just feel like this, and also, I mean, in general, the fact that it makes it Assassinate like immune, that's legitimately the effect we want to see on every 2-cost character, right? Like, if you have an option, every 2-cost character, you would always be able to say, I want the flexibility to invest more fate into it to basically get the best value, and this card does that. Yeah. I'm actually going to be very optimistic. I think this is good.
Wow, got a good 2 above averages.
Yep.
There's lots of positivity for the storyteller. You'll go far, kid.
You go far, kid. Yeah, see, yeah. Sorry.
All right, so that's our quick stop in Crane Lands. Cool. Hey, are either of you guys monitoring chat? So to make sure if there's anything. Okay, cool. So if anything pops in or there's any strong opinions, please feel free.
Yeah, I know what to do.
Thanks, man. New year. Make sure we
just tell me the next card.
All right, so now I'm moving the dragon. We're gonna start this off with a bang. Agasha Sumiko. I might pronounce that incorrect, but it's close. This is a dragon character, Bushi champion. Cost 5, military 4, political 4, glory 1. While you have the Imperial favor, this character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution while attacking. This card is good.
What?
This card is good.
What?
Look, I have a strong opinion about this card because
You got stopped with it? You got stopped?
Just wrecked.
Yeah.
I was faced with a board state that was like an early Tagashi Yakuni, and then she came out and was loaded up, and then he had like the palace and was able to lock favor. And it's just like, send her and stuff, wreck things. She doesn't bow. And then you're just like, oh, cool. And then she just comes in. It's brutal. It's one of those abilities you look at and it's like, oh, okay, cool. But then the fact that you can just buff her up with attachments, and then she can just come in with like some random like little chuds and just be like a hammer. And she's even statted because she's dragon. So she can go both political and military, and she's not bad either way. So she can choose and pick which one's better to try to exhaust your defenders, and she doesn't care. Because if you have the favor, she just goes back and she can then be a defender next. Or she doesn't have to defend. If you don't have anything to send her away to make her have to jump in and do it, she just comes back again. Oh, yeah. And she's still standing. So she's also going to contribute glory to keeping the favor for future turns. And I think... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alice. Go for it.
No. Go ahead and finish your thought, man.
I was about to say, I was like, I know some of the early opinions is probably like Dragon have a hard time keeping favor, and I agree in some matchups that it's going to be difficult. So she could be a harder card to use. But man, in the matchups where you can hold favor consistently because you're taking rings and you're leaving some of your like solid glory character standing, she is a wrecking ball.
I like her. I mean, I wouldn't compare her to Miley Cyrus, but that's cool.
Man,
You said wrecking ball.
You guys, oh man, 2018. This is not setting the bar high.
New year, new me. No, basically, the only criticism I think she's very good. I think she's very good. My only criticism that I have for her would be the same that I have for Pit Trap, and that would be, we discussed the possibility of saying,
how can you?
The Dragon players, it's like his mind just exploded.
Yeah. Well, no. It's a very slight criticism. Is that when we were talking about Pit Trap, we said, hey, like, yeah, this card seems like it could be good, but there's a lot of effects that actually may allow you to like stand a character. So, like, attacking, just saying, that it prevents you from like standing isn't that big of a deal because is a big deal, but like there's ways around it. There are ways around this. She only doesn't bow by conflict resolution. Any other effects that allow you to bow a character still bow her. She's not immune to being bowed. She's just immune to being bound via conflict resolution. Granted, probably the most likely way she's going to bow.
Correct.
But even with that, yeah, I think there's no question she's good.
I think this is an auto include right now in every Dragon deck. No ifs and buts about it. The only hit against it for me is that most of the time, for these big players, you want to see them out early. But I don't, this is like, if you see this first turn, you might mulligan this away. Mm-hmm. And then that could potentially mean you don't see it for the rest of the game.
Right.
But to me that's the only thing, because yes, you don't want this out early because you want to see where you are with the favor. I mean, if you're not going to get the favor, then just don't spend 5 to put her out as she comes up later. But other than that, like, this is dominant. To me, this is top tier. This is great.
I was wrecked by her super hard in the game, so it's hard for me to not like. There was a really good like Dragon Crab Splash build that I played against at one of the events, and it was solid. It was good. Like, I was impressed. I really enjoyed the deck, and when she hit the table, there were just like alarms, sirens going off in lion lands. They were just like, emergency. we don't know how to slow her down. So, she's got attachments and a will to destroy.
Yeah, man.
We don't know what to do. So, I'm in the good camp. So that's where my vote goes.
Good?
I mean, good.
This is after you've built up a dragon character with attachments. Right. This character does not bow. This character does not bow.
Yeah.
He's so funny. This character does not bow.
But that's what dragon. Right. That's what dragon is, right? Like I can put this character out. I can put a bunch of cheap little attachments on them and buff them up, and I'm getting 2 attacks with them. Holy shit.
Okay, fine. I'll go great.
And and did I tell you it's an auto include?
You did.
Yeah.
And I don't dispute it because, I mean, it's good. It's like if you get it in the fire, like if you can get the favor in some way, and then you get just a free character you can send. Like, Dragon likes to play with things that unbows their characters and gets more utility because you're usually using a lower number of personalities than your opponent, right? Mm-hmm. So you go for those like big buffed up characters instead of the horizontal like wide build. You're going tall.
So. Right, and then potentially, yeah, I think, Corey, did you say it that, I mean, she's going to count 1 glory to the favor.
If she just attacks and never defends.
Yeah, to help you keep it. So,
right.
Boom.
Hollis, where would you drop her?
I was gonna drop it in good, but here's what's interesting. Like the caveat to that would be, I'm pretty sure if you try to slot her in good, she winds up at the top. In which case,
she might as well be great.
She might as well be great. Yeah.
Thank you.
That answer.
Thank you.
You got it.
James was like,
right.
I got exactly what I needed.
Yeah. All right. So next up, we have the Centipede tattoo. Now, this is the first tattoo card.
I was gonna say that too. You're stealing all the thunder.
Sorry, man.
I'm excited.
Excited
for the first tattoo, man.
So Dragon Attachment tattoo.
It
cost 0, military 0, political 0, monk character only. Attached character gains the tattoo trait. Attached character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution and conflicts in which it lost.
Like
influence 2.
Like getting your first tattoo is a big phase in one's life. So this being the first tattoo has got to be pretty significant. Let's take a look.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, it seems like the concept for this, right, is, of course, it plays into those monk decks that I'm super excited to wait until it develops. Like, I'm just watching from the distance as more and more monk synergistic cards come out, and then you're seeing more stuff play in tattoos, and I'm getting hyped at what this potentially can build and do. Like, I think that's really cool.
Agreed. A monk deck seems to be creeping together.
Yeah. And I'm super excited for that to come together. Like, I'm a sucker for theme decks, regardless of what clan it's in. I just think that's neat and it's cool to do. I think the initial idea, right, is this kind of so this kind of gives you like a fallback, right? So you could throw this tattoo on someone, go in to do something, and if the combat goes south, then you're like, okay, whatever, he doesn't bow then, so I can now use him again for another event. So you could threaten like soloing a province, but then if your opponent defends to stop you, or try to win the conflict, the character's not out, right? I mean, that's interesting. That doesn't seem like a bad ability, but you're kind of playing this card and attaching it, which is an attachment. So you can use this off your stronghold to actually gain a bonus. But it kind of gives you a fallback if the combat goes south. It doesn't pan out, which is neat. Doesn't seem bad. I'm not like blown away like, oh my god, you have to play with this card. But I think my initial idea is like until the monk deck develops, I don't know if you play this in regular Dragon because a lot of the characters may not be able to attach this because it has to be a monk character. So it means you may end up with this card being like a dead card without anyone you could actually play it on in some builds, or maybe the monks you do have are not really worthwhile to be the person to send or defend or anything like that. So this card maybe like sits in the wait and see pile. That's like as more stuff comes out, the utility of this card can increase, and then when that deck exists to where you have all these targets you can play it on, it becomes a solid card.
So I think that I think this card has uses, but in summary, I agree with what Corey's saying that it's just not enough right now. Like Dragon really doesn't need to put this in their build. You're kind of you're not at a disadvantage, but there's just other things out there right now that could do what this does, of not bowing, where, like I said, this doesn't become that useful. So what I'm saying is that it's more of a nice to have kind of thing, so it could be cut, right? Like you can use it as a tempo control on defense, right? You know, throwing it in there, the character provides enough value that the province is not broke, but you still lose the ring or whatever, right? So you're not you're not letting them just come in and steamroll. You're just like, okay, here's somebody that can, slow you down enough.
Yeah, and the fact that
that's really the best scenario that I can see right now. Obviously, I don't think you want to go in for the bluff plays like on attack, like put it in, and if it loses the attack, because then you've wasted your attack, right? So
right.
I just think it's the whole I'm going to control some tempo on defense and not let you steamroll me.
Yeah, and I think the defense is probably the right call for it, because you can defend with someone, let them play enough, maybe like pressure to where you might like be able to stop it and win, and let them kind of play into it to where they have to use some cards, and then you can drop the tattoo to then not have your defender bow, and maybe you play enough just to be able to prevent them from breaking but still losing the conflict, but you're not losing that character to then commit to a later challenge.
Yeah, I think that's the single, like, that scenario that you guys just described is like the single best benefit of the card, is that you basically can just go all in, like, for pretty much the entire like turn, right? You can just go all in, just say, I'm going to defend with this guy, I'm going to attack with this guy, so on and so forth, and no matter what, if you do not beat me, whether I defend or attack, this person's still usable, so you have to go all in. This is just it's an extra tool. It just becomes this extra tool in your kit that just that allows you to stack up additional like military and political like strength. That being said, I agree with Jameson what he said earlier. I don't think that right now this is something you slot in. It's very Voltron, and I think that the characters that are getting Voltroned don't need this. They just don't,
or they're not able to be targets of this.
Yes, yeah,
which is the other thing. So,
below average.
Yeah, below average is where I drop it right now.
I'm with it.
Okay.
I'm drinking the same Kool-Aid, guys.
Sweet. Oh, what's this? A third dragon card in this pack?
Yes.
That's right. So next up, we have the Mountaintop Statuary. This is a dragon holding a temple. It is strength +1. Reaction. After this holding is turned face up, move it onto your stronghold province. As an action, during a conflict at this province, sacrifice this holding, choose an attacking character with printed cost 2 or lower, move that character home. This is a weird holding.
Yes.
So, I reveal this. It goes from my dynasty to my stronghold, providing a +1 because it attaches. And I now have an ability that if they send a character that's 2 or less cost, I can send them home by discarding it and sacrificing the +1 province strength. So it's automatically removing itself from my dynasty. So it's not a holding that you need to leave in play. You need to keep to have an effect. It flips and then buffs to play for the late game, I guess, to give you that defense towards the end if you need it. But if you're playing with that, you probably need to play with multiples of this to try to make sure you flip them right, which means you're taking out other cards you could be playing. You're playing for the defense game, so you're betting on that I'm going to need to defend my stronghold before I can potentially win the game, and I'll be in a position where I can still win, which Dragon can actually do that because they can have a lot of guys not bow and then counter if your opponent doesn't take it.
So these can stack?
They can stack. It's a really weird card. But, yeah. It's a weird one.
So at worst... Oh.
Yeah. No, you're good. Go for it.
At worst, it gives your stronghold a little bit of a bump. At worst.
Correct. At worst.
At best, you also get to say -2 to military or political or average case scenario, whenever. Because characters that usually cost 2 have a 2 in some stat most of the time.
Typically, yeah. There are some that are above the curve for certain clans, but that's a reasonable assumption.
I mean, I guess it also prevents, and I know people don't really just. It prevents your opponent from trying to throw down wheat. Like when, let's say they do somehow crack, 3 of your holdings, or
provinces.
Provinces, excuse me. Wow, It does prevent them from being able to say, I'm just going to dump a lot of weenies out for this one turn just to maximize the total, my total military political, which is good, right? Like, I mean, that's a positive thing, I guess. It hurts that strategy where they would want to just say, I won't add extra fate to him, no extra fate to him. We're just going to go all in here. But I also feel like often that's an irresponsible thing to do because this game is wild Lamau. You never know. You never know if like that's a good like. I feel like most of the time that's not the wisest way to play. Even if you think you're going to win, it's best to just play for that long game. If you have a huge advantage, you can try to maintain it.
Yeah.
So, and is this actually? I don't think this is better than other holdings that are
so as. Let me throw some croutons into the salad here.
What?
Whoa, let's do it. Let's shake it up.
The issue I'm having with this card is the fact that I'm trying to decide if it is if is this a card that I'm putting in my deck because I think I'm going to lose?
Right.
So you get what I'm saying by that, right? Where I'm already like this card is not helping me take provinces. This card is not helping me push forward. This not is helping me advance my winning strategy. This card is basically saying if all my shit fails and they're coming at my my stronghold, I can buy me some time. And
right
before but
What's really interesting too, right? Because this is a holding that doesn't do anything in the regular game. Like its only benefit is at that moment you're talking about. So like some holdings will flip, they'll rest and chill in a province, and they'll do something like draw a card, move a character, provide some static thing you can do. This holding doesn't. It flips and it goes right to your stronghold, and it's like, cool, maybe I'll do something this game. So,
yeah, but. It was said in chat, and my next point is this also pretty much leaves you with one motherlode of a stronghold.
Yeah.
If everything is as I'm reading it, and there's going to be no erratas to it, and you can stack 3 of these up there, and you got everything else added in as well, then you can do so much with that, so much, and that is just basically a game-changing tempo hit. This card is gonna win you games, and I really like it. So many times I've come down to the fact where it's me and an opponent on stronghold battles next round, and that person has first crack at mine.
Yeah, and they go like all in, they try to win it.
Yeah. And most times at that point I don't really have anything else to like tricks up my sleeve to stop it, because I don't have because I'm dragon, I'm not really doing any hocus pocus or sending people all over the place or doing that. But this one does, man. This is what gives you those last hurrahs, and I think
Don't do it.
I think this is good.
Yeah. I understand your arguments. I can see it.
But
when you put the good moniker, it almost means like you should be playing with this card. I don't know if every dragon player should be playing with this card.
Mm-mm.
That's where I have a hard time.
Well, I mean, again, that goes back to my first point where I'm saying that's where I'm struggling, is because you're basically saying, yeah, I need to put this in there because everything else I'm putting in my deck is gonna fail me.
Right. You're playing for I'm gonna have a bad game. I need this as like an emergency, like help me button.
but I like it because
I don't think the effect's bad.
No,
I think the effect's pretty solid. I do like the fact that it doesn't need to rest in your. It's interesting, right? Because it's not sitting in your provinces, so it immediately removes itself, so you can refill with dynasty cards.
Yeah, and I've played.
But it also
games,
means
man,
it's not doing anything until they get on your stronghold.
But at that point, I think it's so. Unfortunately, at that point, it does move to your stronghold, and the surprise is out. Right, so it's not like where you see some games where they are going to make that Hail Mary play on your stronghold. So it's like, how many guys and abilities and attachments can I stretch my last fate out for? So nobody's putting in a bunch of like no fate characters because they know that you have a bunch of these on and they're just going to get pushed back, right? So but
the trade-off is it's still buffing your stronghold.
Yep.
Like it's still, so even if they manage to work around the effect and not give you any targets, you're then just getting static +1s on top of your whatever else you already have on there.
Yeah.
Oh. Hollis, where's this falling for you?
Putting it average. I'm kidding. I'm actually going to put this above average. I think this is actually pretty decent. I think the card's actually good. I just don't know. I think it's better than just like a whatever card. I would want to play with this. I think that adding just a general strength to your I think adding general strength to your stronghold actually is a positive thing.
It is.
Anytime you move away, Jameson, anytime you move away from there being like a very clear dominant way to win, like that's the clear path, where now they go, okay, this is not viable. I have to do something that I've been doing other than what I've been doing the entire game is interesting. At the point where you can increase your like stronghold defense to where it's like, okay, it's actually may not be reasonably feasible to win this way.
Mm-hmm.
That could be interesting because now how they've tried to play the game now it's 180. They can't play the game this way anymore.
So you said above average. I said good, and Corey has great, so it sits in good.
Yeah, I'm being pretty. I'm being pretty hard with.
I'm sorry. Wait a second.
Hold on. Wait. What? You didn't say great. Jameson just wants this card to be. No, I think the card's above average. I think the card's above average, and I think that
I'm trying to save you from a mistake.
That's good. I think above average is fine.
All right, here's the deal. You went on a really long spiel championing for this card, so I'm gonna vote good, but I'm gonna keep my eye on this card.
Okay.
See if it stays there by the time we're done.
Give it its moment, man.
I'll let it exist. And I need to be bottom of good. Don't like it's barely good to me. Like it's like I'm good because I know a guy who let me into good. So it's good by association.
Listen, you got to take some risk in life, man. Some fortunes were made by putting it all down on black and just spinning the wheel.
Yeah, man. I got you. All right, so let's move along then.
Yeah.
So now we'll go to the illustrious lands of the Lion Clan. And
illustrious.
We will start. Yeah, illustrious. Great. So we're going to move on to Akoto Toshiro. This is a lion character, Bushi, cost 2, military 2, political 1, glory 2. Action. While this character is attacking, it gets +5 military until the end of the conflict. Provinces cannot be broken during this conflict. At the end of the conflict, if you do not control the commander character, discard this character. This character is good. What? Why? But he's not breaking provinces. Nope. But if you send a 2-cost character that has the ability to just give himself a +5 to help you win rings and trigger effects off winning conflicts, that's pretty solid. I like this guy a lot. I play him in like an honor style build because he's a really strong way to try to get ring triggers, because you can just send this guy with Legion of 1 can just like solo like win conflicts and gain whatever benefits and stuff you want, unless your opponent really commits to stop one person coming in. And yes, he discards if there's not a commander. Well, what commanders does Lion have? Gifted Tacticians are 3 of them, and Honored Generals are 3 others. So there's 6 solid commanders that are probably in your deck. I don't know why they wouldn't be, but they should be there.
They're popular cards.
Yeah. So you have good chances for him not to discard. But even if you bring him out with no fate, he comes in, he pops, he discards. Cool. Now you have a character you can bring back in with Spirit Caller or something like that to then just funnel him back in and have him fire another time. I'm a fan of this character. I think he's good.
Yeah, no, you got it. I'm glad.
I said plenty of times. We've said plenty of times. Very much this game can be about inches. Tiny incremental advantage here, tiny incremental advantage here, and a little bit here. And I mean, this card does that. This card says, "Hey, that one little ring effect is going to help you get Imperial favor. It's going to help you bow a character. It's going to help you seal the deal in like so many other ways. So, to gain that extra honor." To remove a fate from your opponent, like if those incremental advantages matter, this card basically says, early game especially, you probably won't even be able to crack that province. So who cares? Just win the ring effect. Just win, like guarantee you're going to win this ring effect via military. If you have a commander out, if you can't crack province, you can't crack. Who cares? Just take the ring and gain that Imperial favor, and then now you're definitely advantaged to crack the province later. Or anything like I think that's awesome.
He is also a character you could almost argue could make Fallen in battles good, because he has an ability to just be like, cool, I need to win by 5 or more. Okay, I'm gonna add 5, and then just like Fallen in battle someone out of the conflict, which is pretty interesting.
Can I say that I'm kind of leaning towards average for this guy?
Sure. You're absolutely willing to say that.
I think that him being a unique character might really hurt and hold this back. Not only is it like to me in an aggro build, which is Lion, the not breaking the province is just, that sucks. And that could potentially be a waste of your board swarm.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely can see that argument. I think it's because like I don't play in like a swarm like aggro style build.
So that is what I was trying to fish out of you. I feel because of this card's style, you're gonna have to build your deck to fit him into it. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he just slots into any Lion deck. I think, like you said though, there are the 2 Lion commanders that are there are, really, really good cards, and they're probably in Lion decks, so you'll have no trouble triggering this ability. But for this to be something you want, it's going to have to fall into a special deck build, and that kind of restricts it for me, which makes it average because it's just not as versatile as it needs to be to move up the ranks.
Cool. Solid points.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, I do agree. Like, he's not like an auto include in every Lion build, because there are some builds that they just want to break provinces. They just want to rush and do it. And of course, if you fire that ability, that takes it out. I tend to play a little bit more towards the honor run style. So I just want to trigger wins to fire abilities, like have people honor off of pride and win conflicts, to just be able to control and dominate rings. So it's not necessarily important for me that I'm always breaking provinces. So that's just the type of deck that I play him in, because I try to play more towards the honor running build and funnel it that way.
Hollis, what you got?
I think Corey summed it up for me. You build a deck around it. Yeah, you build a deck around it, and it's really good at helping getting incremental advantage. So that's what you're going to do, right? You're going to have commanders, you're going to throw this down, and win that game.
Where's it going?
For me, above average.
Cool. So I think that's where it falls. If I go good, he goes above, you go average. I think above average is about where you should sit.
Okay. I hate the way you meted that out.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. What's next here? Might have to
All right.
pick up our paces here.
Next, we have Guard Duty. This is a Lion attachment. Cost 1, military 0, political 0, keeper role only. Action. If attached character is defending, honor it. Influence cost 1. Cool. This is a great card for Phoenix.
I was gonna say, like, what one influence? Yeah. Hey, you can use it
in Lion. This is more focused of a special type of build than the deck that Toshiro would go in. But I think that same type of build is the type of build that would play this card.
Maybe Crane too.
Crane would also probably like this. If they get better like honor running tools and stuff like that. I think this is like a great card for Phoenix. I think it's a cool card. It's another mechanic to honor. But yeah. Attachment, you have to fire the action. So you have to play on a character telegraphing this is the character I'm going to honor. I have to be defending, and then action to honor it. It's a lot of moving parts in there. But it's another way if you really need to honor characters to get those benefits, you can do it. This card falls into... I'm kind of in the average camp, but I could even be persuaded to go lower because it's very specific builds, and I think it's only like 1, maybe 2 decks that would even find this card playable.
I don't really think that Lion's going to use it, so I'm kind of really thinking off its splash value.
Yeah.
So where does that fit? Is it average or above average?
I mean, I think in Phoenix it's average. Would be my guess.
I'm willing to put this in average and move on.
Do you have any strong opinions otherwise, Hollis? Yeah, all right then. Well, that was
Crab can use it because they defend a fair amount.
Stop.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like, what do you want me? Yeah, I don't know. Like,
they're not honoring their characters with the sweet glory 0 bonuses.
Yeah, it's just so it's like so not synergistic, really. To the
I mean, I really think the expression on the guy's face on the card really sums up like how people think about using this card. So that's it. If you want to know, just look at his face, and I think it sums it all up.
So,
all right. So we have?
It was average then, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, average. We'll go average.
Okay.
Next we have another line card. The implacable. I don't know. That's tough one for me. No. Magistrate. Lion character Bushi Imperial Magistrate. Cost 3, military 2, political 2, glory 1. While this character is attacking, only this character and honored characters count their skill towards the resolution of this conflict. Cool. I think the biggest use I've seen her is she's a hard counter. She's a good card to play into the crab matchup, and that's the main reason why I think Lion decks are using her. It helps to offset a little bit their magistrate, which is really good playing into the Lion matchup. So it kind of gives you a nice like counterbalance back and forth. That's where she's neat. I don't feel like it's the right answer to try to build a whole deck around firing her ability. While yes, Lion can honor a bunch of cards. And it's a neat thing to have. So there can also be situations where you have a bunch of guys who fire. The problem is Lion characters don't tend to stick around very long. So that's kind of hard to, keep up consistently. But she's an interesting character, and I think like where she's useful is to play into some of your harder matchups. And I think playing into Crab is a pretty good use of this card. Where that puts her on the rating scale, I have not been like too blown away by a lot of the magistrate abilities, aside from the Crab one, which I think is just very easy to use and really good. This does have some setup involved to get work out of its ability. So she kind of falls in the average category to me.
I don't like the cost.
Yeah, the 3 for a 2/2 is kind of awkward in Lion.
Yeah,
Like-
it's very, very.
Yeah, and she's not even a high glory character either. So even if she which she doesn't have to be, but even if she honors herself, she's not giving like that much of a benefit. She comes up to a 3/3 for 3, which yeah.
So where I see this card kind of filling a niche is geez, this is a stretch. I like the Bushi trait.
Oh, that's really hard to find in Lion.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Good thing
Right.
you fished that one out there.
It's good. It's
Ooh.
hey.
We
But
were struggling. We were struggling to fill 40 cards with enough Bushi.
but I think that if you can do some surprise stuff where you can cheat this up in,
Yeah,
and
it messes the math up.
yes.
A lot.
So, but does that really need to happen in an aggro deck? I don't think so. So I'm not impressed. You know what I mean? Like if you can charge it in, or if you have spirit callers, or you know, all of those those tricks where it goes in there, the math is disrupted, something has happened, and you've snuck a win out. Awesome, but I don't think it's clutch, and it's probably, you know, 7 times out of 10 not going to do anything for you.
7 times out of 10? That's a lot of times.
Yeah.
Out of 10.
Yeah.
70% probably about.
Damn, he's so good at math.
That was,
Look at him.
I debated if I should have just said something else. It'd be like 7 times out of 10. I'm like, yeah, that's like 60% of the time. It works all the time.
Every time. Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
To me that this is really sitting at a below average right now. The cost is too high, and for what it's doing in faction. You guys can fish it down lower. You can tie an anchor to it, and I probably wouldn't argue it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold to my average rating, but just barely.
Oh,
Hollis, you got the deal. You got the deal breaker vote on here.
I don't like this. I just don't think it's impactful enough. It's just not.
Yep. Hey man, I respect that answer.
so we're
And it's like, oh man, I kind of want to. I'm gonna rate it bad just to knock it down a notch.
oh man. So that law of
it's
average
like-
is below average.
There you go. Hey, weird. It's like that happened on an earlier card. We went anyways.
God.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't think this is that good.
What's the next
Yeah.
one?
All right.
We're into.
I'm
into
gonna
Phoenix?
jump the neutrals here, and we're
Yeah.
gonna jump over to Phoenix. So we have the haughty magistrate. Oh, we love these magistrates.
Hot.
Phoenix character Bushi Imperial Magistrate, cost 3, military 2, political 2, glory 1. While this character is attacking, characters with lower glory than this character do not count their skill towards the resolution of this conflict.
But my brain. Continue.
That's it. Glory 1. So
But I
this
have
one, if you're playing the base Phoenix Stronghold, because there will be new strongholds that's been leaked by other things, you could buff Glory, so you have the ability to pump her and then make her discount a bunch of other characters in the conflict.
Yeah.
That seems okay. It seems easier to use than the one we just went over, because you already have an ability to fire it built into your stronghold. But it only triggers on the attack. And there you go. So I guess the idea, right, if you honor her, so then she becomes a 3/3, and then if you stronghold her, she goes to what, like a 5/5? Am I correct on that? Is it +2 glory, right? She becomes a 5/5 that then discounts anybody who has less than 3 glory. That's pretty neat. You have a card that could probably solo a province, and no one can defend the stopper without card shenanigans. That seems okay, right? So I'm going to drop this in the average boat again. I seems like I had orchestrated to make the card like okay, but
let me entice you. Maybe perhaps this card may be something you would be interested in. Well, average. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in average.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna shortcut it. I agree. I think this is so average. In fact,
I think it's better than the Magistrate we just went over.
Yes, it is. But still. Yeah.
I think this is a lot better than the Magistrate we just saw. I think that this could potentially like start creeping up into good category. The ability to get that glory up in Phoenix and then honored, you can bring the pain with this card.
Yeah, it's quite haughty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As some would say. The only thing that's a slap in the face for me is the traits that were picked. I don't really feel that that Phoenix is really wanting anything there. Like, where's the Shigenji? And
Shugenja?
Yeah. Shigenja, and that would have been amazing. Amazing.
Balances, man. Balances.
Yeah. So,
bro, if it was Shugenja, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
What?
The trick of a card game.
Yeah. Instead, he's just gonna stand like kind of creepily in like a shadow, holding a fan. Really weird, disturbing artwork on this card. Anyway, so
yeah. I think honestly, like every point you said, Corey, where you're able to probably single-handedly take a province with this card is very, very, very strong. I really think that this is a good card in Phoenix, and I think this is going to be out there in a lot of Phoenix decks.
It's a good claim. It's a good claim. I know some Phoenix players who will agree with you, and I know some Phoenix players that will absolutely disagree with you. I love the divide in the Phoenix community on some cards. It's fantastic to watch.
That's my. I think they are officially. They have been officially, right? My clan, I think.
So does.
Oh, you don't even know?
Do you guys?
Well, I said. Remember, I was the one that said initially I would not pick a clan to be loyal to because to me it's irrelevant. But I don't know what it is. The Phoenix clan is so alluring. I just love it. So that's what I gravitate towards most of the time if I have a preference.
It's pretty neat.
So both you guys said average. I'm borderline good. So where do you think that's going to sit?
Why don't we make it bottom of above average?
Okay.
Okay. This next is going to be really fast. Seal the Phoenix. Phoenix attachment, item, seal, cost 0, military 0, political +1. Attached character gains the Phoenix clan symbol and the scholar trait. Nothing really uses a scholar trait, and it's the seal. Bad. They put this in bad.
Bad. Yeah. Done.
Sometimes I can fight. I can argue for seals, as you guys seen on earlier episodes. If I can just try to squeeze out a use for it, I will argue on the rating.
If you don't put this in terrible.
I mean, yeah, sorry, I forgot we even had something worse than bad. We put terrible with this card.
Straight nuke this in a terrible. There's not a button big enough on Trump's or Kim Jong-un's desk to nuke this in terrible as quickly as I wanted to put this in terrible.
All right. We did it. So now let's jump on over to Scorpion. Everyone's friendly, fun to play against clan. And we'll start with quite a controversial card, the Backhanded Compliment. This is a Scorpion event, cost 0, keeper role only, action, choose a player, that player draws 1 card and loses 1 honor, influence 1.
And Scorpion can't play it.
And Scorpion can't play it. The controversy that this card caused on it being spoiled and the impact it could potentially have on the play experience of the game plus the fact of like the stink it caused when it was decided by the Scorpion players at Worlds to pick a role to not allow this card to be in their decks. The card that has that kind of impact has to at least be good, right? This is also like the only way to just outright cause honor loss in your opponent without any conditions. So I think this is like a great card.
Well, you just said it was good.
I know. Well, I said it would make it at least good.
Okay.
With the impact that it has. But just to be able to, I mean, granted, I think the only clan that like would play this at this point is probably like if you try to do a Dishonor Crab or some weird janky stuff like that. Like the fact that it's not in Scorpion is what kills it so hard, because it's like they could do so many things if they had this card, but they don't. And it's great.
I mean, I think it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Zero cost, and you can choose yourself. Obviously, zero cost to say, let me lose that honor and draw a card. That's freaking cool as Scorpion. And they already get the card. They already have that massive card advantage. They often are going to bid really, really high. And you want to be lower. You want to have less honor than your opponent because you want to be able to steal an honor. So you're guaranteeing your stronghold can fire continuously, even if they match you with the bid. You're guaranteeing that you're going to get, continue to have that card advantage. And if you really want to stick it to your opponent, the moment your opponent is getting low when they're in that 1, 2, 3, 4 honor area, you can just say, hey, why don't you take a card?
Yeah. And
lose another honor. Thanks. It's basically that scene from Gamers Hands of Fate where he's like, draw another card.
the biggest problem, like, and the thing is too, like, we're of course mentioned like how awesome this would be in Scorpion, and the fact that they can't play it has to be killing some people inside. But the problem that they had in their Dishonor decks, right, when you got to 1 or 2 honor, they couldn't quite finish the job, barring like janky contingency plan shenanigans and stuff like that. And this card gives you a way to just finish the job, just to be able to get them this last point or two over. And the fact that the name is very thematic, that if they're at 1 honor and you play this, you could just say good game, and then they lose to a backhanded compliment. It's fantastic.
Rude,
but they can't. So another clan has to do that, and they're not going to be able to do it nearly as effective as Scorpion could. So I still think the card's great. It's just it doesn't have like a really solid place right now in the existing game.
So then haven't we talked about this before? Like, if
I know.
Like,
you can't play the card.
Does it become below average? Is this a below average card?
I can't rate this card below average. The effect and the ability is too strong. Even knowing like its limitations and the existing meta.
But what about the fact that like let's just say you don't have this in your opening hand, and you're playing that Dishonor style, so you're bidding low, so you're not really drawing heavy to try and find it.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because some will bid high early to burst cards. So, and then certain clans that do it does also have card draw mechanics, right? So like, I mean, right now, Crab does have card draw with like the Yasuki Merchant and stuff like that. They can help them like fish cards. Not saying that that's necessarily the deck it'll be played in, but
well, I think that says a lot right there too about where this card needs to be.
And Joe makes a point. He says that in his Phoenix Dishonor deck, this is a card that he's used to great effect. So I mean,
there we go.
If you have obviously like with a Dishonor deck, this card is clearly going to be good. But even without it, it's still fine. It's a 0 cost card that lets you trade an honor for a card. I mean, I see the issue that you're facing, Jameson, and that you're facing, Corey, because we have made this point before. If it's not usable in the best case scenario at all, right? Like it actually is not really usable in that best case right now. then we can't just say the card is great because the effect is great, because right now it's not applicable. But we know that if we could use it in Scorpion, it would be crazy. So I'm gonna honor what we've done before. I'm knocking it down, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna knock down.
Do you want to just put it straight? Oh, you're knocking it to above average? I thought you were gonna just say average.
I actually think the card is good, potentially great, but it can't be used in the actual best faction that it can be. And I think as Joe has like mentioned, it might be best in Phoenix right now, like a Phoenix Dishonor deck. And I don't think that's
if I was to pick between Phoenix and Crab, I'd probably say Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't
more
think
tools to play with that.
And I don't think the Phoenix Dishonor is actually even the best available deck either. So when I think about that, I'm like, well. I'm like, it's
back up.
Corey, where are you
maybe
saying?
It is.
What did you say? It's
all right. So my gut reaction is great.
Oh my god.
Based on the thing, I still want to put it in good.
Man, I don't think. I hate this card. I hate it. I hate this card. This is stupid. Because I think it's clearly at least good, no matter what. But I feel like I have to knock it down hard because it can't be played in Scorpion. It's just like, what?
Good card's good card, man.
No, not necessarily. I mean, we.
God.
Just look.
A good card in a vacuum is a good card. A good card actually in game state is a garbage card.
Just look at the artwork, all right?
Art doesn't do it for me.
Take a good look in the mirror, and the card's just like, look at me. Look at how great I am.
Corey, but look at other cards that can actually be played that you've ranked lower than this.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. But this effect is, I mean, it's a good effect. The fact, too, that this card also becomes a really strong enabler for a style of play.
Okay, I will let you guys put it anywhere you want, but I don't think that... I will say, because this card can't be used, I really don't think it deserves to be high up there.
I hope on the list you put like an asterisk, and then the bottom it's like, I want you to know I, Jameson, strongly disagree with this rating.
I do. You're saying that a card is good, and then you're taking it like into a weird jank build. Okay, here it is in good Scorpion. Weird.
This is tough. I think that card's very tough, because I think that there's merits to make it good even without being in Scorpion. But I'm like, it's like great if it is in Scorpion.
Let's power forward.
All right. Next up, we have
a long episode.
Evolving Diplomat. Scorpion character Courtier. Cost 3, military 1, political 3, glory 0. Interrupt. When this character leaves play, claim the Imperial favor. Hollis, I'll let you take your first reaction on this. You pay 3 for a 1/3 Courtier. Glory 0, so it doesn't matter if she's dishonored.
When this character leaves play, claim Imperial favor.
And then when she goes away, you claim the favor. Man, wouldn't it be cool if there were like cancel cards that trigger off you having the favor, or other cool abilities if you have the favor?
But you know what though is the question here is the 3 cost.
Yeah, that's true. That is quite an investment. That's what makes it tough, because you do have to invest 3, and then you're probably not putting anything on her. But it also means that she's on the table, your opponents knows they're going to lose the favor when she goes away.
Yeah,
they're more likely to probably like commit and just give up on that contest because they know they're not going to be able to take it.
I mean, basically, I don't even think you necessarily even put. I don't even think you can incentivize putting fate on her, because this interrupt is what you care about.
Right.
you don't give a crap about a 1/3 that costs 3, but you do give a crap about gaining that Imperial favor for 3, because that's basically what you're paying, right? That is it.
Yeah.
So you're not going to invest extra fate on this. You are saying, is their board state, is that Imperial favor worth -3 fate?
Well, what's that? I just kind of had to look it up. Scorpion has the back alley, right? So maybe once you get the favor, maybe once you get the Imperial favor, you'll never lose the Imperial favor.
It's true, because you could funnel her to the back alley, bring her back out, and just keep cycling her that way, right?
Yeah, but like I say, to me it's the 3 cost, right?
Yeah, it is expensive because and it's also like the back alley is neat, right? But there's other characters that are more likely to take that slot. But again, there are decks, right, that have really powerful characters that need the favor to trigger. Crane with like Akita Yoshi, Lion using Ujiaki. And if you're able to keep that favor out of their control and just have an ability to take it, you don't necessarily need to battle them on rings and glory. That is an interesting ability to have.
But so normally, I don't know. There's no set rule, and I think it'll always. I think this will be one of the L5R arguments that kind of goes on for the game and kind of changes with ebbs and flows. Where if you look at Netrunner, we had the discussion just the other day. What is a click worth? You know, and I think it's, you look at cards in L5R and you're going to say, what is the cost that I want to put, like, what is the base cost of a character that I want to put fate on? Usually if a card is 3 fate or 3 fate, those are usually the cards where it's safe to say, oh, 3 fate and up, you kind of want to put additional fate on them to hang around. But this ability here, you're paying 3 fate for shitty stats on something that's going to only get good when it leaves.
Correct. You're paying for it to go away.
So,
yep.
Is that worth it? Is it worth the deck slot for that?
And the awkwardness is, what if you already have Imperial favor? Now it's basically a dead card. Like, you're not going to pay 3 if you already have. I don't think I would ever convince myself to pay 3 for a 3 for this card compared to anything else I could play if I already had Imperial. Yeah, it'd be pointless. It'd just be pointless. I'd be wasting fate.
Yeah. So where does that fall for you? Where do you drop your rating on this?
Man, I want to put this under below average. I feel like this is niche. It's got. I feel like the ability is pretty niche.
I figure I feel the same way. I feel that this card is not. How do I word this? I feel that this card is not gaining you the Imperial favor, but it's denying your opponent the favor for all those cards that maybe they've put in their deck to say, like, oh, discard the favor for me to do this. And I think, Corey, you're touching on some of that line of play before. And I think that for that to kind of line up and be in that stars aligned scenario is just kind of not worth the roll of the dice to do it.
I mean, I think that ability plays more into the I'm playing Scorpion to do all the counters, right? So I'm gonna counter your stuff with Forge Edict. If I'm splashing, I'm gonna counter things with Censure. Like, I'm gonna counter you having the favor. Like, I'm just there to try to be a dick at every possible angle I can to prevent you from getting something you want. I'm not gonna let you have anything. And that's kind of where this card probably tries to play, but I'm still with you guys on the rating. I think below average is where it sits because that is a hefty investment, and I don't know right now if there's enough things where there's enough matchups where that's an ability you really want that there's aren't better choices that fights and wins that deck slot.
Let's get into the customs.
Okay, hey, this is a cool card that was originally spoiled on this very channel.
Yeah.
What?
This is the Gaijin Customs.
This
is
is
a unicorn
BP
event
card.
Yeah, costs 1. Action. If you control a unicorn card, choose a non-unicorn character, ready the chosen character, influence 1. First, in unicorn, this card's not that hot. But as a splash card, this card is good. It's just... So what are really popular cards in unicorn to play with? Spyglass, Uchi Wayfinder. Easy, cheap cards to throw out. One of them gets you more cards. So it's easy things to get and have access. And then by having them exist, you then have a card you can play to unbow a character you have. Strong ability. I think we've talked about it at length, even in this episode, how unbow effects are really powerful and impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if Unicorn is already your splash, there are certain clans that love this card. You can talk to a dragon player, find out if he thinks it's a neat card to play with. Yeah. I think this is, I mean, obviously it's a splash card. It's not something that Unicorn can really trigger that effectively. But as a splash option, if you're already taking like the Spyglass Wayfinder package, this is a really strong consideration for includes over some of the other options, which has been like captive audience and stuff like that.
Again, somebody has, given the old, metaphorically speaking, kick to the unicorn gonads as one of the best cards that unicorn has seen in a long time is not able to be used in unicorn. And that's not even because it's like you have to be a keeper or a seeker. This is just basically like it doesn't do shit for them.
Right.
So, like, mind's blown. But I love the hell out of this card. Is it good or is it great? Tell me. Because
I'm kidding. No.
I think Hans is ejected from the channel.
I
this
think
is the last episode.
I think both of my answers are acceptable.
Are correct.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's good.
Right. If you guys think it's good, yeah. But if you're like it's great, I can also say yeah.
I will vote good.
Okay, done.
Did it. All right. Next we go to Yutaku Mediator. Unicorn character courtier. Cost 1, military 0, political 1, glory 0. This character gets +1 military and +1 political while you do not have the Imperial favor.
Oh man, you don't want
while you do not.
Yeah. So it's just a cheap, potentially a 1 cost 1/2 courtier if you don't have the favor. If you end up with the favor of some reason, it's an 0/1. But it's just a cheap character. Meh. My gut reaction is it's weird, right? Because I guess if
my gut reaction is tell me what I'm supposed to do with a courtier and unicorn.
Yeah. It opens up some of the more cards you can play, I guess. I don't know. I think this card's below average.
I think this card's I'm actually going to put this card as...
You gonna do it in bad?
Yeah, I think so. It feels like they were trying to round out the available options in Unicorn, which is, it's fine. Sure, do that. But this doesn't lend itself well to any existing Unicorn strategy, I don't think. It's not really worth it. I think it's bad.
Is this better than the Otomo
Courtier? Yes, I do think it's better than the Otomo Courtier. Because you can synergize with it being a unicorn character, which means it can buff your Yutaku infantry. You can play some of your unicorn abilities and stuff off of it.
But it's pretty weak, man.
Yeah, it's still not great. But it's a better option than the Otomo Courtier.
Yeah.
It's not penalized. It's penalized in stats, but not in what you can do with it. You can still send it to attack or defend if you don't have the favor.
Well, you can.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Think of all the options.
So where's this?
Wherever you... Hollis put bad, I put below average. So your decision pretty much dictates where it lands.
Yeah.
Unless you go off the rails and you put it good or something like that.
Well, considering you're probably going to be getting steamrolled and you won't have the Imperial favor anyway, this card is amazing in Unicorn.
Yes.
I probably said I'm not as harsh. I'm not a harsh Hollis. I'm a cool Chris. I'll have to go with below average.
All right. So now we made it to the neutral cards. So we have a few left and we're almost done. So we have Before the Throne. This is a neutral province, Imperial, Air province, Strength 5. Cannot be the Stronghold province. Interrupt. When this province is broken, take 2 honor from your opponent.
Yeah, this is pack art card. So
yes.
So I mean,
it's also Grand Kotai playmat art.
Probably good then. Let's take a closer look here.
I like this card, but I also play this in my Honor Lion build. Is a good option for Air. You also can play this in Dishonor decks. It gives you a solid strength province because 5 is nothing to joke at. So it's something you're trying to defend. Plus, it has a pretty impactful effect when your opponent breaks it. Oh yeah, it's also an Imperial card. So if you open up the ability with decks that really synergize off the Imperial stat, also something else you can fire off of. I'm a fan of this card. I want to lean towards this card being good.
But let's be honest here. You're a fan because it plays in your Honor style.
That's correct. It's a card that I play with, but the argument is it's not the Air choice. There are certain decks where this card's not useful for that player, and they're going to pick something else for an Air province. But if it is the right choice for your clan and your play style, it's a good card for that.
I mean, at 5, a 5 strength province that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Keep going.
I think it's pretty good.
No?
I think this is... I'm just going to shorten it up. I think this is above average.
Okay, there we go. We have an above average.
I don't know.
Damn it.
No, and to me, it's just because of what it's competing against, right? Like I'm trying to think, would I rather flop this or would I want Manicured Garden, Fertile Field kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah.
Do I want to draw cards? Do I want to get a Fate? Then you have provinces in clans that are probably going to compete for space with this. I don't know if this doesn't bubble up to the top in the soda of life for the province I'm going to pick, man.
Did you say soda of life?
Stuff just comes out sometimes.
Okay, I just wanted to, for the viewers at home, I just wanted to clarify, make sure it's that. Is that a Canadian expression or something?
Yeah, no, it's just coined right now because I'm thinking how bubbly my soda stream is.
Gotcha. Bad publicity brought to you by SodaStream.
If only, man.
Go ahead. Carb some shit. SodaStream.
Yeah. Before the Throne, SodaStream.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like it's only playing in honor builds, and I think that holds it back. I think this is just an average card. It could even slip farther down.
So is the consensus then above average? If we have a good above average and average?
Oh god damn it! I should have went lower just to even it out.
My strategy, Jameson. My strategy.
Yeah.
So what'd you say? Above average?
Yeah,
that's where
I'll let you guys determine where it lands.
Oh my god. Generous.
It's 5 in a province.
2018 is the year of generosity, of handouts. Everybody wins.
Everybody's a millennial this year, bro. Everybody.
Participation prizes all around.
That's what they written.
Here we go. Next up, we've got another neutral province, the Guardians of the Seketsu. This is an Earth neutral, Strength 5, Earth roll only.
Hold on, Paul's got me distracted. I think he's talking SodaStream in the chat. I'll just be over here.
Okay, go ahead. Reaction. After this province is revealed, bow each character with printed cost 2 or lower.
Which one were we on? Sorry?
Guardians of the Seketsu. So, hi. I like to play Lion from time to time. I hate this card. This card terrifies the shit out of me. I've had a couple times where I've played against like Crab, and I've just made the joke, and I was just like, "Oh, you're gonna flip that Guardians of Seketsu, and then we can shake hands." Oh, okay, cool. So,
are you gonna just flip that so we can just call it? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just collect my things. We'll be out of here. So for what I play, this is a card that I'm worried about. It concerns me. If it's an option on the table, if a clan I'm playing against has the Earth Ring.
Pretty much
it's
Crab.
Correct. But because that's the only clan it's really played in, you don't have to worry about this card very often. And in certain clans, it's not even really a big deal anyway. Like Dragon, it's going to be like, yeah, cool, my two cost guys. You got them.
Yeah.
So,
it would be different if Dragon could play this card.
Yeah. But what is interesting about this card is when it's revealed, it doesn't matter where those characters are. It bows all of them. So there could be some things like if you're sitting with a bunch of guys and you send a scout to go fish it and you hit it, then all of a sudden like your board state gets all screwed up because all these guys get bowed off of the trigger. That can be a pretty impactful effect. But again, I think it's only one clan that can play this right now, right? Is that correct, or is there's no Seeker of Earth?
No.
Yeah.
So I believe Crab is the only one. That's why I was saying Crab at the beginning. That, that can hold this.
But do you play this over their other options? Does this beat like the +5 strong provinces? I definitely think it beats their clan province.
I think this is a game-winning province. I think like definitely a tempo hit. I mean, slide this under the stronghold and let's see the damage it does.
Yeah, and also if you think about too, Crab has ways to unbow. Like if you have a Cooney Witch Hunter and this does catch one of your guys you need, you could trigger another benefit by sacking a guy to then use the Witch Hunter to unbow the guy that disbowed. It can open up some interesting combos for you to play with as the Crab player. I'm a fan of this card. I love to hate this card because I don't want to see it on the other side of the table because it's bad for me, which makes me understand like how impactful this card has to like me and my play style.
I really, again for the record, this is old cranky Lee Jameson, but I really hate to see neutral cards that are so limited. Like neutral cards should be able to be dispersed a lot more. So I mean I'll take points off, but I mean I guess that's the nature of the game with the roles kind of moving around, and that keeps it interesting and who can play what, and that's the aspect of deck building and
it's like minute focused rotation.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like it keeps it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But so right now, because only Crab can play this card, and I know if there was a good card in Crab, we would be like, wow, that's a great card. But because it's neutral and it can only be, it's so laser focused, I'm leaning towards above average.
Oh, so where you sit?
That didn't sit well with you, did it, Corey?
I mean, I think a lot of the points you made makes above average probably the right spot. I could see arguments for probably some crab players will go one way or the other.
But you've just been on the other side of feeling the damage.
I have. Like I argued super hard on backhanded, but
you respect it. That's
yeah. So
well, let's hear what Hollis has to say. Is this happy Hollis or hating Hollis?
I'm hating Hollis. I'm putting this shit at average. What are you saying to me right now?
Yeah.
Sorry, Corey. Your individual plight does not make this card fantastic. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about your individual experience with lying. Get over that shit. If that's your biggest problem, Corey, guess what? Maybe you're playing the wrong faction. Maybe you need some better high fate characters.
Man. Yeah. I was so used to like being high on the horse with like Lion's so great, Lion's so awesome, and then like I had a game where they were just like Pathfinder Blade your Art of War, and then next game it's like Guardians of Sakatsu and the Stronghold. Nope. Shit's all bad. I'm just like, I'm just sitting here and it's like we were so good.
Where were you putting it? Where were you putting this? Corey, you said...
I put it in above average. I was with you on above average.
Okay. All right, let's get there next.
We're on the factions. We have two left. Imperial Palace. Neutral, holding, Imperial, strength +2. Limit 1 per deck. This holding adds +3 to your side during each glory count. So normally limit 1 per strongholds. Our holdings we've seen have been garbage. All right, they've been straight garbage. This one, 3 glory and the Imperial favor race, just by having this holding in play, is pretty much saying like I have a 3 glory character always like standing and hanging out, but you don't have to pay for anything. This holding just has to exist. It's pretty impactful if your game plan is to try to control and dominate the favor. So your deck has to be built towards that play style, but I think if it is, this is an interesting card to consider playing. Because 3 glory is not an insignificant amount of glory to add to winning the favor.
Is what? Did you just say it like backwards?
Yeah. 3 is impactful. All right, there. I'll shorten that up.
Okay.
3 is an impactful amount of glory to add to the favor race.
It is, but being a one of and a +2, correct. It's like, You're gonna need this to show up when you need it the most, and it's not. I mean, what's that? What's the one that flips your holdings through, Corey? The crab one.
Rebuild?
Yeah. Like maybe can you rebuild it? Make it stronger.
You can rebuild it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
you cannot use rebuild for it.
No, you can. You can. Yeah, you absolutely can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, maybe you're pulling value there, but then again, you're gonna need.
But is
now you're counting on more of a combination.
Yeah. You can't see the argument of like it is a one of, right? So you could throw it in, and if it comes up, it gives you a way to contest favor, even if you're not a clan that necessarily wants to get it. It also gives you something to help fight in that, to keep your opponent from doing it. But then on the flip side, if your opponent gets it and they're trying to get the favor, it gives them more tools to help keep the favor. It's an interesting card because it adds, like, when it shows up, it definitely adds a dynamic to the favor race.
Mm-hmm. But it's unreliable, dude.
Correct. It is absolutely unreliable. I cannot argue that point. So, I have seen this a lot in a lot of decks I've been playing against. It has been popping up a lot because it is a one of. There's a lot of people who's just been throwing it in as a deck slot.
Above,
I don't know, like
it's above average.
Oh, cool! I was gonna drop it in average.
No, but you know what though is that because it's a one of, because of you have to take its power into account here. But for me, the problem with it is its unreliability. But being a one of, there's a lot of times when you're building decks and you have that one slot and you're just like, hey, this is a powerful card. Let's throw it in.
Yeah, throw the Imperial Palace in. If it comes up, see what it does. House, where do you sit?
I think it's average.
Where are you saying, Corey?
Average.
Okay, so I guess it falls.
Yeah.
As good as this can be, it could, like you said, Jameson, this shit can backfire so hard. Like, if that character gets dishonored? Right.
What?
Like, am I crazy?
No.
Hold on.
No. It just adds 3 to your glory total. So you have dishonored characters, doesn't matter. It's just added. It's just this holding some play. It contributes 3 points to you controlling the favor.
How often do I mean? It's like, do you want to keep Imperial favor? Are you more likely to keep Imperial favor the whole time? I don't know. I hope so.
It allows you to also not have a great round and still be able to fight for the favor.
Fight back. Incremental advantage.
Yeah.
But holding.
Yeah.
But incremental advantage.
All right, we're on the last card, the finale. It is the Way of the Chrysanthemum.
Oh, here it is. Everything's been building to this. Do we leave with a bang or a fizzle?
Neutral event, Imperial philosophy, cost 2, reaction. After 1 or more honor is given to you from an honor bid, gain that much honor. Max 1 per round. Influence 0. So I play this card. I usually run about 2 of in my deck.
Of course you do. Of course.
It helps to keep my opponents honest, because if you can catch someone on that opening turn where you're 1 and they go 5 or even 4, dropping this and going, cool, I just gained 8 honor, or I gained 6 honor, it causes problems. It also is an interesting thing that if you're trying to honor run and you get close and your opponent thinks they're going to get slick and go with a high honor bid to get the cards they need to try to finish you off, you also have this card you can play as a threat. It's a card that I haven't honestly gotten to play very often, but having it and the threat of this card helps to keep some plays honest.
We need this.
Does that make it a great or good card? No.
This card needs to exist. This card needs to exist because you do end up in those scenarios where someone decides they're going to play extremely conservative very early, or vice versa. You decide that you're going to go bid very early, high very early, and I think before, when we were looking at the beginning of this game, we first all took a look at it. We said, okay, why doesn't everyone just bid 5 all the time?
Right.
And we said, oh, sure, there's going to be strategies that are going to lend themselves to where you think that's a bad idea. There's going to be dishonor strategies, honor strategies where this does not always make sense. And we've obviously, that's been there. This has been present and prevalent throughout the game thus far since it's been redone. This pushes it even further, which is exactly what we needed. It says, hey, are you going to bid? Are you going to is your plan to script to bid 5? Okay, well, understand what's happening here. Like, when you bid 5 and I bid 2, I'm gonna take your 3 and then I'm gonna gain 3 more. So yeah, you're gonna take some honor away, but you playing the game you want to play gets a little harder.
Yeah,
a little harder.
What's also is this card opens up, especially if we get to the point where duels become more prevalent or impactful, because then you have other scenarios where the honor bid takes place.
I thought you were gonna say. Go into that this makes contingency plan.
No,
amazing.
No. I'm not trying to pull the super jank.
I'm gonna game,
but you are seeing like policy debate, right? Policy debate is all over the place. So that is a duel that's being played quite often, and so if you get like one more of those, to where you're having other duels, and then you get duels where your opponent actually gets situations where they actually want to try to fight you. That's another window that can open up for this card to see play. Saying all that, this card, I think, in practice, doesn't get played very often. But having it it's more so I'm playing this card in the deck to keep my opponent honest. But
that doesn't really seem like the world's best reason to play it, though.
True, but not play, like, if I have it and the opportunity presents itself, it can flip to a really good conversion rate for honor.
As much as Corey is this diehard honor
I know
player,
I loved honor run.
I just don't feel that it's a reliable win condition all the time across the board. But this card definitely helps flush out honor style builds. Whether we're there or we're not there yet kind of remains to be seen. But I think that because this is only good in a small percentage of the deck pool or builds that are out there, I think that it's almost just average. But that's not to say that it's not a bad card. I'm not downplaying the card. If you're running an honor build, this is an auto include. I feel, I really do. I think this is really good, and it can really surprise people and come out of nowhere, and just really boost a shitload of honor for you if somebody bids wrong, if they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
But because it's so contingent on so many different factors there, right? Like when do you play it?
Yeah. I think the card states it right there. It's a philosophy.
Well, that's good, yeah.
So if you're playing into that, you're following it. Yeah. This is a card you're going to enjoy. But I do agree. I think average is the right place for this card.
Hollis, you have anything else to say to that?
Put it in the middle. It's good I think it's a meta check.
Yeah.
I really feel like it's a meta check card. And depending on how the meta shifts, this card will go in, it'll go out. When people are starting to be very polarizing and they're like, I bid 5 all the time, I think you're gonna see decks that go, well, okay, whoa. Challenge accepted.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's like that to me, that worst case scenario is actually terrifying. I bid 1, my opponent bids 5. I bid 1, my opponent bids 5. They give me 4 honor, and then I'm like, I gain 4 honor, 8 honor.
Yeah, that's a huge swing. So you only need to get the 25.
Imagine if that's turn 1 of the game.
That'd be sick. That's just sick.
Some people start with 11 honor.
True.
Or 12.
True.
Yeah.
Totally sick, dude.
Yeah, so cool, man. Well, we did it, guys. We got through the Chrysanthemum Throne.
We made it.
Yeah. So as a whole, there's some really neat cards in the pack, and we're 4 packs down. We got 2 left.
Yeah. Thank you very much for slugging through this one with us, guys. Really appreciate everything. If you made it this far, you might as well take that extra couple seconds, give this a like, and we will catch you next time. Next Thursday, Bad Publicity. Be here, where we explore the Imperial cycle further.
Yay!
Yeah.
Happy gaming, everyone. We're out.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Bye for now.